Hello everyone, it's Judy from Coffee, Cookies, and Books. Wonderful to see you again. So today, what we're going to do is talk about everything coming out in the month of February. I have a ton of great releases. Can't wait to share them with you. Okay, so we're going to do our February book releases. Now what I've got is about a total of 40 books and over 4 different dates in February, and I will let you know any of the releases that I'm interested in. I think I've got 1 or 2 pre-orders for sure in the month of February. They're included in here as well. So we're going to get started, and the first date that we're looking at is February 3rd. Okay, so as per usual, going to give you the title, going to give you the category that it falls under, and I will also give you just a quick synopsis on the book. Particularly with thrillers and suspense mysteries, I don't like to give too much of the synopsis because I do feel that sometimes that gives it away. So we'll keep it short and sweet, okay? So that goes with this first book. It's Not Her by Mary Kibuka, and it is a mystery thriller, suspense, that's a category. It says 2 families are at a secluded lake resort, are at the center of a chilling crime in this twisty thriller from the best-selling author of Local Woman Missing. A scream shatters silence. Courtney Gray's peaceful vacation turns into a nightmare when she discovers her brother and sister-in-law dead in their lakeside cottage. Her niece Reese is missing. Her nephew Wyatt is asleep upstairs, unharmed. So that's all I'm going to read on that one. It sounds great. It sounds like one that's right up my alley. I do not have, with thrillers, I typically don't put them on pre-order because I have both Book of the Month and Aardvark subscriptions, and I know that they tend to pick up a lot of thrillers and suspense books and mystery. So I wait to see what they offer, and then I kind of go from there with what I'm going to purchase. The other thing too is I do get a lot of thrillers off Book Outlet, and I find that they come up on there quite frequently, so I don't worry about purchasing way in advance. Okay, sorry, I know that was a long-winded explanation, but just so you know that that's kind of how I am with thrillers. Don't pre-order them. Next book is Queen of Faces by Petra Lord. It is a YA literature fiction, LGBTQ2S+ transgender. Okay. This dark academia fantasy follows a desperate girl at a cutthroat magical academy who faces a choice between life and death: become an assassin for the enchanted elite or watch her decaying body draw its last breath. So that's that one. I think that sounds really interesting. Fabulous cover. Totally love the cover on this one. I don't typically buy a lot of YA, so I usually wait to see what everyone else thinks about it and then kind of go from there with my thoughts on those types of books. Okay, next one, The Wild Card, a single dad hockey romance from Stephanie Archer. This is the 5th book in the Vancouver Storm series, which I imagine is an interconnected group of hockey players probably. And it says, Tate Ward is the best coach in professional hockey, a hot single dad, one of the best players of all time, and my new boss, who likes everyone but me. So, sounds like a bit of enemies to lovers. Yeah, it's a single dad romance and the 5th and final book in the Vancouver Storm series. So, that's that one. Okay, the next one is The Bone Queen by Will Schindler, and this is a horror, a chilling horror thriller debut where a mother's search for her missing daughter battles against the shadows of a historic, dangerous legend. Now, it doesn't say if this is historical fiction. I don't think it is. but it does say that it has British and Irish influence in it. So it does certainly sound interesting, this one. Okay, next one is We Were Never Friends by Kara Ruda. And this one is again, suspense thriller. It says, sisters, forever, friends, never. Who knew a reunion weekend could be so deadly? Meet the sorority sisters of Theta Gamma Mu. Oh, yeah, it's going to be one of those. For fans of Sherry Lapina, Mary Kabuka, and B.A. Paris, We Were Never Friends is an unputdownable, riveting train wreck full of dark humor and bad behavior. So, people behaving badly. You always got to love books like that. Sounds like an interesting run. Okay. Next one is Songbird of the Sorrows, and this is by Brady Otto, and this is a fantasy. I don't know if it's fantasy romance or not, but we'll find out as we read through. It says, Spy, thief, princess, songbird. Banished from the Palace of Sorrows as a child, Princess Ella was taken in by the Avery, a secret intelligence network embedded throughout the Imperios that trains orphans as professional spies. Now 23 years old, she has finally earned her place as a songbird on the most elite team of assassins, led by none other than her former flame, Raven. Everything about him calls to her. He's brave, loyal, and lethal, but their relationship is also the greatest threat to her standing as a songbird. So, yes, obviously, romantic fantasy. There's that one. Again, another lovely cover. And it is available in special edition. A lot of these books are. I think the previous one that was the transgender fantasy one, that was also in a beautiful special edition. Next one is a crime thriller. Okay, How to Kill a Guy in 10 Dates by Shelley Thompson. A humorous, swoony, and downright terrifying slasher rom-com in which a cinephile gets caught in the middle of a murder spree at a speed dating event and must use encyclopedic knowledge of the romance and horror genres to make it as a real-life final girl. Oh my God. I love the sound of this. Okay? Yeah, I mean, this sounds fantastic, and I love the cover. I love the but I've never read anything quite like that. It's super interesting. I'd like to get my hands on that one. Okay, next, Dawn of the North by Demi Winters. So this is the third book in the Ashen series, and this is a continuation, I think. A new age begins in the kingdom of Isildur in the sizzling third installment of the Vikings-inspired Ashen Romantasy series. So I'm not going to read the synopsis because I think it'll give it away, because usually with these fantasy romances, they are a continuing story. So I don't want to give away too much of what the ongoing new plot is in the third book. Okay, so Good Intentions by Marissa Waltz. This is a psychological thriller. Even the best intentions can grow into obsession. On the surface, Katie has the perfect life. She has a thriving luxury event planning business, the man she's loved since she was 17, and a social calendar she can barely keep up with. She also has Dana, her identical twin, her most trusted confidant. But when Dana dies suddenly, before Katie can say goodbye, everything shatters. I will leave it at that. Yeah. That's another twins one. Twins stories seem to be kind of popular these days. Okay. Next one is The Glowing Hours by Layla Sadiqui. And this is a general fiction horror ghost. You can kind of tell that from the cover a little bit. Yeah. A mind-bending revisionist gothic horror story about the fabled summer Mary Shelley began work on Frankenstein as told by her Indian housemaid. Strange how one can find they are an interruption in another person's story. So this is the summer of 1816. when this story takes place. So it is obviously historical horror. All right, next one. This book made me think of you by Libby Page. So this is like slice of life, family life, that kind of thing. General contemporary fiction, I think. A woman receives an unexpected gift from the man she loved and lost. A year of books, one for every month, launching a reading-inspired journey to live, dream, and love again in this glimmering and heart-stopping novel. 12 books, 12 months, one chance to heal her heart. So that sounds like a bit of a tearjerker, maybe? Definitely. Next one, A Stage Set for Villains by Shannon J. Spann. This is a fantasy. It says dark fantasy is what it's listed under, but YA. The gods are dead. All that's left are the players. The performers of the playhouse are as worshipped as they are feared. Their enchanting shows, bending hearts, minds, and even reality itself. Vicious, godlike, lethal. 18-year-old Riven Hesper knows the dangers better than anyone after her own encounter with a player resulted in a curse that is slowly killing her. So I will leave it at that. Does not say that it's part of a series, like it's not indicating that. So it could be a standalone. Next one. This cover is the creepy. It's a creepy cover, okay? The Exes by Leodora Darlington. Just like creepy. Oh, yeah. Super good. I don't know. I'll probably put it on this side, but I decide when I'm editing. So, yeah. Creeps me out a little bit. It is a psychological thriller, so probably why the cover is a little bit creepy, right? Yeah. Who hasn't wanted to murder an ex, figuratively at least? In this explosive debut thriller, a woman's seemingly perfect romantic life is on the verge of collapse as she uncovers a hidden history, surfacing dark secrets that have deadly consequences. Yeah. It's what does it say on the cover? Love brings out the villain in all of us. Oh my God, this actually sounds really good. Creepy covers really. What's that one? Is it Breathe In, Bleed Out? Like that cover was fantastic. Okay, fit the genre. Everything this does too. So, okay, and then the last one for January 3rd is. Stolen in Death by J.D. Robb. This is the 62nd book in the In Death series. 62 books. I know that this is a crime, murder, investigation, detective, that kind of story. I haven't even read the first one. I think I have the first 2 or 3, and I really want to read them because I love detective series. This one's a really long one, but still. So this is a violent death and a vault of stolen treasure has Eve Dallas struggling to solve crimes old and new in this next thriller. So that's all I'm going to read on that one because anybody who follows the series is going to want to pick up this book. Okay, so that is it for January 3rd. So now we're going to move on to February 10th releases. Okay, so for the 10th, we have 8 books to go over. Sorry, my hair is too long. It's driving me crazy. I'm supposed to go and get it cut in a couple days. Thank God. Can't wait to do it. Okay. Anyway, first one is a dark academia romantasy called Wicked Onyx by Debbie Cassidy. I have to admit, I think the cover is like fantastic on this particular book. Yeah, whoever designed it, like that was really, really great. Okay, so in a ruthless magical academy where she's cursed and powerless, the lost Onyx must unravel dark family secrets and navigate dangerous alliances to reclaim her legacy and make those who betrayed her pay. Now it says book 1 of 1 of the Veritas legacy, so obviously it's going to be series. Maybe they don't know how long the series is going to be at this point, but that's what it sounds like. And for a fantasy, it's actually not very long. It says it's only 410 pages. Is that correct? Actually, the print, that was the Kindle, the print version is 368 and comes with really nice sprayed edges on paperback. There is no hardback on this, at least not showing being offered right now. So just a sprayed edge paperback, which I think is kind of interesting. I'm wondering if it's maybe because it's going to come out in Book of the Month or Aardvark in hardback. I could see Book of the Month doing it in hardback with the sprayed edges and everything like that, and maybe that's why no hardback is coming out on pre-order. So just a guess, entirely possible. Next one is Throne of Nightmares, which is the third book in the Prince of Sin series by Carrie Maniscalco. I do actually have the first two, but I did pick them up on Book Outlet. I didn't buy them right away, so I probably would wait for this one as well. And this is, because it's a third book, I'm not going to be reading you the synopsis on this because I think it is a continuing story. Okay, but it says, in this action-packed standalone fantasy romance, a dangerous magic draws two readers into a perilous quest to find it and their own happy ending. So there we go on that one. Next one is called Keeper of Lost Children by Sadiqa Johnson. I think that's how her name is pronounced. And this is historical general fiction. It says cultural. So in this new novel, one American woman's vision in post-World War II Germany will tie together three people in an unexpected way. So clearly it centers around the war and in Germany. So it's going to be quite interesting in that way. Okay, particularly if you like historical fiction from that time frame. Next one is one I have on pre-order because, I can't wait to read it. And that is Operation Bounce House by Matt Dinniman. So he's the guy who created the Dungeon Crawler Carl series, which I absolutely freaking love. Okay, so I actually do have this book hardcover on pre-order. However, I don't know if the Broken Binding is going to offer this one, because if they offer this one, then I might very well wait. Although I did pre-order this at a 30% off price, so it is a really reasonable price for the hardback. So I might just keep that anyway, but we'll see how it goes. So a man must fight for his planet against impossible odds when gamers from Earth attempt to remotely annihilate it in this epic, fast-paced novel from Matt Dinniman. So it says all colonists Oliver Lewis ever wanted to do was run the family ranch with his sister, maybe play a gig or two with his band, and keep his family's aging fleet of intelligent agriculture bots ticking as long as possible. He figures it'll be a good thing when the transfer gate finally opens all the way and restores instant travel and full communication between Earth and his planet New Sorora. But there's a complication. So I'm just going to leave it at that. It's oh, yeah, really love this. So this is considered action, adventure, mystery, thriller, suspense. So I guess his books are kind of that, and they do definitely have a bit of a sci-fi feel to them. And this one sounds like it exactly that. So fun. Oh my gosh. I hope he's probably just going to lean into what he's really good at, which is the characters. Oh my God. Yeah, characters. Next one is a contemporary romance called Maybe This Once by Sophie Sullivan. This is the third book and final book, it looks like, in the Rock Bottom Love series. From the Queen of Sweet Romance, Sophie Sullivan comes a small town, opposites attract, romance about two people who end up with more feelings than they bargained for after pursuing a summer fling. So, sounds like a interconnected type romance series. So I'll leave it at that. That's that one. And then the next one is a general fiction family life. It's called The Jills by Karen Parkman. And in this propulsive debut, a Buffalo Bills cheerleader will stop at nothing to solve the disappearance of her best friend and teammate, navigating the dark underbelly of a hardscrabble city, the grime and glamour of professional cheerleading, and her own tangled family history. Professional cheerleading and Buffalo Bills. So it's got to be in Buffalo, right? Which, like, I live like about 45 minutes from Buffalo. Even though I'm in Canada, I'm like 45 minutes from Buffalo. So that's that one. And then the next one is She Made Herself a Monster by Anna Kovačeva. And this is general fiction horror, occult. So a heady, dark-hued gothic gem of a debut novel. In 19th century Bulgaria, a self-proclaimed vampire slayer, in truth, a traveling con artist, joins forces with a teenage girl to create a monster deadly enough to vanquish their own demons. Okay. That one sounds interesting, to say the least. And the last one we have for the 10th of February is The Found Object Society by Michelle Merrick, an atmospheric speculative suspense novel following a mysterious society offering its members the chance to relive the death of another person and the self-destructive woman who determined to uncover its secrets. So it's listed under general fiction and horror, genre fiction. So horror on that one. And it says, this ambitious genre-bending debut is perfect for fans of time travel fiction, including Matt Haig's The Midnight Library and Gareth Brown's The Book of Doors. So those are the comps that they give. So that's it for the 10th of February. The next date is February 17th. Okay, so we have, again, 8 releases for the February 17th date, and looks like there's actually a fair amount of, suspense and fantasy. First one is The Astral Library by Kate Quinn, and this is listed under action, adventure, mystery, thriller, suspense, so bit of a mystery. A gorgeously written fantastical adventure which poses the question, have you ever wished you could live inside a book? Welcome to the Astral Library, where books are not just objects but doors to new worlds, new lives, and new futures. I think that one sounds really great. I'm wondering if Book of the Month is going to pick this one up. Just a thought. They might. Okay. Next one is, again, this is YA, Folktales and Myth Fairy Tales, and it's called The Sun and the Star Maker by Rachel Griffin, and it comes in a really nice special edition, beautiful cover. It says, there once was a village so far north that most considered it the top of the world, and in that village the sun fell in love with her star maker. From New York Times bestselling author of The Nature of Witches comes a whimsical and sweeping romantic fantasy. So that one, another fantasy. A lot of fantasy romances coming out in February. Next one, though, is a suspense thriller, and that is When I Kill You by B.A. Paris. So this one sounds right up my alley. And who is watching Nell Masters? Nell Masters is certain someone is following her. The hairs on the back of her neck rise when she travels to and from work. There are silent calls to her office, and a huge bouquet of flowers arrives without a card. And Nell has a reason to be looking over her shoulder because she has a secret that she's hiding from everyone in her life, including her new partner, Alex. But Alex has secrets of his own. So that's all I'm gonna say on that one. That one sounds really good. Love those suspense thrillers. Okay, the next one is got to be one of the cutest covers ever on the planet, okay? And that is Agnes Aubert's Mystical Cat Shelter. Like, Love this one. So this is fantasy, paranormal, urban is what it's listed under. A woman who runs a cat rescue in 1920s Montreal, Canadian, turns to a grouchy but charming magician to help save her shelter in this heartwarming, cozy fantasy from best-selling author of the Emily Wilde series. So I've never read that series, but this one definitely interests me. I think this sounds so cute. Adorable. It says, Agnes Albert leads a meticulously organized life, and she likes it that way. As the proudly type A manager of a cat rescue charity, she has devoted her life to finding forever homes for stray cats. So, yes, it certainly sounds charming. Next one is a epic fantasy. It is Crown of War and Shadow by J.R.R. Ward. This is the first in the Kingdoms of the Compass series. Doesn't say how many books there's going to be in the series. That's that. There is a deluxe edition available in hardback. It says, an outcast burdened with a curse, a mercenary out for himself, a kingdom that must be saved. It sounds interesting. What does it say? In the deep, dark dead of night, passions rise and empires fall. The fulcrum is failing and demons are slipping into the mortal world. No one is safe. Oh my gosh, that sounds really good. I don't know if there is a... Oh, it is a romantasy. Okay, so it says that the tropes are a forced proximity, only one bad, chosen mates, dark mercenary, who did this to you, touch her and die, I'll die for you, hidden magic. Okay, so there's that. Then the next one is So Old, So Young by Grant Ginder. This is LGBTQIA literary fiction. It says 6 friends, 5 parties, 20 years. How did we get so old, so young? So it is it's a story of romantic love, professional jealousy, misplaced longing. And so I think the cover is beautiful. Love the cover. So that's that one. Next one is Adrift by Will Dean. This is a crime murder thriller. Again, just up my alley. The author of The Master Class in Suspense returns with a high-tension thriller about a family's descent into darkness that is perfect for fans of Dennis Lehane and Lisa Jewell. Peggy and Drew, both aspiring writers, move to an isolated canal boat with their 14-year-old son. Peggy is the glue that holds her family together, even as their son is bullied relentlessly for his physique and his family's lack of money. But when Drew becomes frustrated by his wife's sudden writing success, he moves their boat further and further from civilization. So that's where I guess the whole Adrift title comes in. And the last one that we have for February 17th is Half City by Kate Golden. It's the first book in the Harker Academy. Looks like there's going to be 2. Like it's going to be a duology because it's saying book 1 of 2. And this, again, another great cover. Okay. I don't know if it's YA. It doesn't say it's YA. It says it's urban fantasy. So, welcome to Harker Academy for Defiant Defense. Keep your dagger sharp and your wits even sharper. Viv Abbott is an average 21-year-old girl. She lives in an expensive city where the rent is too high, works long hours at a thankless job, and is dating a guy she doesn't even like in the hopes of winning her prickly mother's approval. She also happens to be a demon hunter. That's all I'm going to say about that. And that one looks really good, okay? It looks and sounds really, really good. So, yeah. So that's the last one. Now we have our final date of releases, which is February 24th. Okay, so we have our final 9 releases for the month of February on the 24th. So our first one on the 24th is one that I think a lot of people are hoping to get their hands on, and it is And Now Back to You by B.K. Borison. It's the second book in the Heartstrings. So I think the first one was the one about the guy on the radio and like kind of Sleepless in Seattle. So this one is more When Harry Met Sally, which, you know, all those movies were right in my time, right? Yeah. So, because I am actually turning 65 today. So the day that this video goes up is my 65th birthday. So I was right in kind of my prime when all those movies came out, like Sleepless in Seattle and When Harry Met Sally. So I certainly do remember them. And Sleepless in Seattle was one of my all-time favorite movies. So I am going to be looking to pick this up because I did get the Book of the Month version of the first one. So I hope Book of the Month is going to offer this one. It says 2 competing meteorologists are forced to find common ground in this opposites attract When Harry Met Sally inspired romance. So yeah, I love that one. I'm hoping I can get my hands on that. And then the next one is Cleopatra by Sarah L. Arafi. And this spectacular cover. Oh my God. Okay. Now, I personally, not a huge fan of the story of Cleopatra. I do like Egyptian history though, so I might get this one eventually. It says Cleopatra tells her own story in this evocative and sensuous historical epic from the best-selling and award-winning author of Faebound and The Final Strife. Now, I do have the first 2 books in The Final Strife. I have not read those yet, but I've heard that they're very good. So this says it's general fiction, historical, biographical. So it does not, so it sounds like it has a biographical feel to it. So that would interest me a little more, but we will see, you know, how people feel about it. I kind of go based on what other people think, people's opinions that I do actually care about. There's one person, Kim from An Oasis of Books. She reads a lot of historical type books. She does read a lot of nonfiction books. She might be interested in this, so I would be interested in hearing what her opinion would be on something like that. Okay, so the next one is How to Get Away with Murder by Rebecca Phillipson. Can't speak English today, which is pretty much normal for me if you watch my videos on a regular basis. This is a mystery police procedural. It does not say it's part of a series, so nothing like that. It says, if you pick this book up because you truly want to get away with murder, you will not be disappointed. Simply turn the page and we'll get started. So, an instructional book on how to get away with murder. It says this fresh thriller, debut thriller finds a Scotland Yard detective trying to find the author of a self-help book that promotes quite literally to teach readers how to get away with murder, which seems to have inspired London's newest murderer. That sounds good. Next one is Finders Keepers from Natalie Borelli. Now, this one, the KU version is already out, but the hardback and the paperback are coming out on the 24th. So that was something that I wanted to make note of because if you wanted to pick this up on KU, you can pick it up on KU. And this is a psychological thriller. It says, Dear Diary, today I'm going to kill her. Love, Rose. When Rose discovers her troubled past splashed across the pages of a best-selling book, she knows her carefully constructed life is about to unravel. The author, Emily Harper, claims the story is fiction, but Rose knows better. Desperate to find out how Emily discovered her deepest secrets, Rose ingratiates herself into the author's life, posing as an eager assistant and adoring fan. Okay, there's that one. Okay, next one is another crime murder thriller, The Girls Before by Kate Alice Marshall. So I know she writes that type. I have never read anything written by this particular author. But if it comes up on Book of the Month or Aardvark, I might very well try it because that's a good way I find to introduce myself to these types of authors. It says a search and rescue expert, a kidnapped woman, the lost girls who haunt them both. There is a girl in a basement. The door has stopped opening. The light is gone. Stranger is trapped in the dark with only her imagination and the scribbles on the wall left by long dead girls to keep her company. That's all I'm going to read. I'm not going to read anything else because it'll give it away. Don't want to tell you too much. No, especially not on those thrillers. So the next one is a horror. Okay, and it is Nowhere Burning by Catriona Ward. Nowhere Burning is a harrowing tale of survival that places the dark fairy tale Peter Pan and the ruthless dangers of Lord of the Flies into the unforgiving maw of the Colorado Rockies. Secrets in the flames, answers in the ashes. Riley and her brother Oliver set off in pitch black night, fleeing their troubled home. They are heading for Nowhere, an abandoned ranch once the playground of its former eccentric movie star owner, now a haven for runaways. What awaits could be the freedom they crave. I go from there. It's only a 300-page book, but yeah, that one certainly sounds good. Next one is another thriller horror, Trust No One by James Rollins. It says, knowledge can be magic until it falls into the wrong hands. The ritualistic murder of a British professor at the University of Exeter points to a startling cast of suspects, his own students. Oh, I'm going to read on that one. Oh my gosh, there's like always so many good thrillers. It's like a ton. Next one is Red Winter by Cameron Sullivan. And this says it's a general fiction horror, monsters and creatures. And it does come in a special edition as well. And it says a devastating love story, a bewitching twist on history, a blood-drenched hunt for purpose, power, and redemption. In 1785, Professor Sebastian Grave receives the news he fears most. The terrible beast of Gavaudan has returned, and the French countryside runs red in its wake. Red in its wake. Sebastian knows the beast, a monster slayer with centuries of experience. He joined the hunt for the creature 20 years ago and watched it slaughter its way through a long and bloody winter. Even with the help of his indwelling demon Sarmodal, who takes payment in living hearts, it nearly cost him his life to bring the monster down. So this is 2 decades later. So that one sounds interesting. Like the cover. Wow, I love the cover. Yeah, really do. And the last and final book that I have for February is The Wicked and the Damned by Rebecca Robinson. And this is the second book in the Dark Inheritance trilogy. So it's obviously going to be 3 books. It says this is book 2 of 2, but then it calls it a trilogy. So I'm assuming there's one more that's going to be coming. And this is the second novel. A fiery couple forced apart must navigate a deadly maze of politics and power to reunite across a continent of war. So that's all I'm going to read on that one because it is a continuing series. Okay, so that is it. We are done. No more. Well, that's all that I could find for February, but I always like to try to come up with that minimum 30, maximum 50, you know? So this kind of sat in the middle at 40 books, which I think is a perfect number. And yeah, so I hope that there's something in there that you're looking for and that you'll enjoy. And if there's anything that you like in there, let me know. I would love to hear your opinions on what you think of all of these. And are there any that you suspect might be Book of the Month or Artwork? If you are a subscriber on there, love to hear that too. And yeah, so that's it for me. And like I said, this video is going to go up on, it's actually my birthday. So I'm wishing a happy birthday to myself. 65, that's like a huge milestone, right? Yeah, I think so. Oh, you know, I've said this before and I'll say it again. You're only as old as you think you are. And I think I'm 30. My body doesn't feel 30, but my mind feels 30. Okay, so that's it for me, and we will see you in the next video.